You're in Braves country.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Hope you are doing well. Braves country comes your way. Braves country hot stove. We're doing this twice a week. So if you want to catch us live, you want to jump on to Braves Country Radio on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We come your way live every Monday. Thursdays, we do the drops. And we come your way on Friday on WQEE 99.1 FM. And a lot of times we will replay it on Monday mornings or the early part of the Monday show just to get you caught back up in case you might have missed it. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. And look, everybody is starting to lose their mind, as we predicted, about the possibility of Mr. Shohei Ohtani, as you can see on the screen if you're watching on Braves Country Radio. And when you look at this and you realize that the possibility of Shohei Ohtani coming to the Atlanta Braves is very minute. We know that, but it is fun to think about, right? And one of the arguments that came about with this was if you were to sign Shohei Ohtani, which obviously he would go to your DH, what the hell would you do with Ozuna? Because Ozuna is your designated hitter right now. This is one of the many reasons why it's not realistic for us to think that he could be an Atlanta Brave. The only reason why this nonsense has come out is because his camp has said that he has had thoughts of Otani going to the Braves because it would be a fun idea. And what he's really getting at is the fact that we're always contending. We're always right there. We're on a winning team. We have a winning culture. He understands all that, and I'm sure that's what attracts him to him more than anything else. For that to even have a remote possibility of happening, that would have to come from the higher ups, meaning that could not be something that comes from Anthopoulos. That would literally have to come from the higher ups, the ownership that says we want to invest more money than we typically invest into a player because we want to get the market for Shohei Ohtani and sell the Braves jerseys with Otani on the back. Bring the millions of eyes from the country of Japan to Atlanta Braves baseball. This would be the reasoning for doing it. Now, there's been talks about him possibly coming in and signing a very short deal so that he would have time to rehab his arm, show what he's got, and then go back out on the market in a few years. And a lot of folks believe that that would make the Braves a potential buyer at that point. I don't think that's necessarily true because I think you're still talking about an extremely large AAV. Now, maybe the Braves would do it just to splash their toes in the water, get eyeballs on the Braves franchise, and then let him walk in a couple of years. And I can see that argument. I just figure that if he's going to take a shorter contract, typically that means a much higher AAV. So you're not talking about paying this man $50 to $60 million a year. You're talking about paying much more for a designated hitter and then hopefully a pitcher in 2025. Let's say it's a 2-year deal. That's a lot of eggs to put into a basket. Now, the argument for it would obviously be, hey, we do this, we're talking turkey, baby. We're talking about putting Shohei Ohtani into our clubhouse and the circus that comes with it, obviously. But we're also talking about bringing a lot of fans and bringing a lot of revenue. Though you're going to have to spend a lot, you should be getting a lot back. So with all that being said, I don't hate the idea. I just don't think it's realistic. But if you're going to do something like this, what are we talking about? Well, obviously, Ronald Acuna Jr. is not going anywhere. He would be leading off and playing right field. I would think you're going to get Ozzie Albies batting second, playing second. Austin Riley batting third, playing third. And then the idea that I saw put out there was that Otani would be your designated hitter batting fourth, Olsen batting fifth, and then Marcell Ozuna goes to left field. Murphy in the catcher position, obviously he would platoon with Darnode, Arcia, and then Michael Harris. First of all, if any of this comes to fruition, the idea that you would most likely go with Ozzie Albies at the second spot is probably wrong. You're probably going to go Acuna, then Otani, then Riley, then Olsen. And that's a hell of a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch. Then you would probably, to back up Olsen, if you're being smart about it, you're going to put the bat of Marcell Ozuna at the number 5 spot. And then Ozzie Albies drops down to 6. And look, I love the idea of that lineup, and it sounds great. But first of all, are the rumors true that he's willing to sign a short deal? I don't think they are. I think he's been waiting to hit the free agent market. If you're going to invest in Otani, you're just going to have to take the risk on whether or not he'll ever pitch again. And there's nothing that's saying that he would never pitch again. So it's almost nonsensical to even have that part of the argument. So why not think that this is going to be a long-term deal? And if it's going to be a long-term deal, you're going to be paying at least 10 years. I believe it's going to be more, because if all these other cats can go out and get a 13-year deal, 12-year deal, why is Otani going to agree to anything less? It's not like his AAV is going to be higher when he hits the free agent market at the end of a 10-year deal. So why wouldn't he go ahead and make the big splash? I've been saying all along, I think it's going to take $600 million to get him in. Now, if it's only a 10-year deal, you might get him in for $550. $500 is not going to do it. He's not signed for $50 a pop. There's going to be more. It's at least $55. You're talking about a guy, and the thing is, you'll get the discount off the first year, because the first year, he understands he's not pitching, but he's fully expecting to pitch in the second year of the contract and going forward. So he looks at it, and his camp's going to look at it. His agent's going to look at it as, I'm giving you 2 spots, top of the rotation, and an elite designated hitter for 1 roster spot. And though it's cost you more money in the end, at the same token, that gives you a lot of flexibility. You think about it. If you have Shohei Ohtani on your roster, you could still roll with a 13-man pitching rotation, or 13 pitchers on the staff, on the roster, including a 5-man pitching rotation. And it gives you more flexibility, it gives you an extra reliever, which, someone like Snicker, who loves to give these guys days off, he would love the idea of that. And you almost have to have that, because Otani pitches once a week. He's not going out there every 5 days. Y'all, if you haven't paid attention to what he does when he is healthy. Shohei Ohtani pitches usually almost the same day every week. It moved around a little bit this past year, but essentially they would have Shohei Ohtani Day. And it was they typically did it on a weekday after they realized how dumb it was to do it on a weekend because the entire place is packed. So let's say you decide to do it on a Tuesday. That probably makes the most sense because you always play baseball on Tuesdays. It's very rare you don't have a game on a Tuesday. You do that because when he pitches on a Tuesday night at home, that place is flooded. You don't need to have him out there on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday because you already got butts in the seats. You put them out there on Tuesday and let's go. There's also the fact that that's more likely going to be a night game. Very rare that you play a day game on a Tuesday. So realistically, he would be your Tuesday starter and you would figure everything else around it. Now there's a few options you can go with that. You can go with the 6-man rotation and give everybody an extra day off or extra days off here and there. Or you can treat one of your games, depending on how many games you play that week, you could do a bullpen type of game. Really depends on how you want to go with it. It depends on where you are as far as with the roster and all the young kids that the Braves have. And look, I know we're getting much ahead of ourselves, but I thought this would be a fun one to do because this is all the buzz. Is where's Otani going to end up? And Shohei Ohtani is a game changer for wherever he goes. The dominoes will fall after that. Now, I've been saying all along, I still believe that he's going to be a Los Angeles Dodger. But if you were to speculate and you say, hey, we are going to have Shohei Ohtani as our designated hitter, at that point, you may have to trade off Ozuna. My question would be, what are you going to get back for him? Because the main thing would be for them to try to open up some money. $16 million owed to him this year. And at that point, your left field is going to be Vaughn Grissom and a combination of some sort of either a washed-up veteran or another kid coming out of the minors, because you're going to try to have to save like hell if you spend all that money. But if you look at the idea that they're going to spend $50 to $60 million on one player, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Wouldn't you take that money? This is what I would do. I would take that money and lock up Ronald Acuna Jr. long term. Because there's this belief in Braves country, and I don't know where the hell it comes from. I know some of it is just dopes that don't understand the finances of the game, and they kind of tip they kind of dip their toe in the waters of Major League Baseball a few months out of the year. We see them around October. We see them in the off season, and we'll see them on opening day, and then we'll see them periodically from time to time throughout the season. But they don't understand that we don't have a salary cap in the national in a Major League Baseball. It's not like the National Football League. So the idea that you're going to have an even playing field to go out and spend just isn't the case. And to get Otani, it means you're going to have to give up something down the road. It would mean most likely you're never going to see the day where Ronald Acuna Jr. becomes a long-term Brave. He hits the free agent market. If you sign Otani to a 10-year deal, 10 plus, 11, 12, 13, whatever, there's not much of a chance there's going to be money left over to sign Acuna. We've already got Riley locked up. Olsen's locked up for the foreseeable future. So is Murphy. Ozzy is locked up for a handful of years along with Acuna. This isn't something that's going to affect the team immediately. Harris, Arcia. Now, the one advantage you can say is this, is that the money that they saved off of Orlando Arcia being the shortstop and not re-signing Dansby Swanson makes this a little more plausible. It's just not very likely. The other thing is you can look at it big picture. If they do sign Ohtani, I guarantee you that means the Max Fried is gone. Most believe that Max Fried's gone no matter what, that he wants to go back to the left coast where he's from. I've never heard him say that. I don't know where all this comes from other than people just assuming you always want to go home again. Sometimes people are happy as hell to get away from home, depending on where home is. Sometimes people prefer to live at home in the off season and go work elsewhere during the regular season because they don't want to buy a place in Atlanta, live in Atlanta, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe they just want to play in Atlanta. Obviously, they'll have somewhere to live during the season, but during the off season, maybe that's when they want to be, whether it's California, wherever the hell you're from. But if you sign Ohtani, you can look at it as they would be getting ready for him to be front of the rotation in 2025, paying a hell of a price for him to be to be a designated hitter for 2024, but knowing that you are going to lose Max Fried to free agency, and that would be the trade-off. But you still have Strider locked up long-term. Bryce Elder isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And when you get back off of 2025, think big picture, you'll have Kyle Wright back as well. And you'll have him on a very club-friendly deal. So you're talking about having Kyle Wright and Shohei Ohtani to be able to spell what you would not have for them this year, but you do have Max Fried. So all of those things check the boxes, and I love the idea. I'm going off of the Atlanta Braves. They typically do not spend this kind of money. But isn't it fun to think about it? Isn't it fun to dream? It really is. It's a neat idea. I just don't think it's very likely. I don't think it's going to be something that we're going to see. But I did think we needed to kind of talk about it today and what the team would look like. And that starting six that I just gave you, 1 through 6. So once again, I'm talking about putting Acuna in right and leading off. Otani, the designated hitter, and batting second because you got righty-lefty there. Then you back that up with Riley, the right-handed batting third. So Otani's going to see pitches. Then you've got Olsen backing him up and batting fourth. Ozuna batting fifth. So right down the line, you've got righty-lefty, righty-lefty. Righty. All power bats. Every single one of them a power bat. Then the number 6 bat, still a pretty damn good power bat in his own right, Ozzy Albies. He's good for about 30 a year if he's healthy. And then the number 7 batter, this would be the interesting one. Here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I love Harris batting 9th because I love the idea that he's going to see more fastballs early in his career when you really can't rely on him to be top of the order. Then what the hell is the point of pulling him out of the 9 hole? Because if he's at the 9 hole, not only does he see more fastballs because Acuna is right behind him, and first of all, they want to get Harris out. They don't want to walk him. But then when Harris gets on base because of his speed, Acuna is going to see more fastballs because they don't want Harris swiping the bag. So it's twofold. So personally, I would keep him at the number 9 hole, but I could see them moving him to 7 and doing it traditionally and have Murphy 8 and Arcia 9. Of course, when Travis Darno plays, you would slide him in there. But you get where I'm going with this. And then obviously, here's the other thing. If this happens, and this is a huge if, there is nothing that I am reading or seeing that suggests any of this is true about Shohei Ohtani. But it's speculation. It's fun to talk about. If this happens, and you did hold on to Ozuna, but remember, he's got a controllable year in 2025 too. So are you going to put that much money into Ozuna along with Otani? See, yeah, it's going to get sticky. But with all that being said, if you did hold on to Ozuna, if you kept him, that automatically means you got to trade. You got to move Vaughn Grissom. Because at that point, the kid has proven with the bat that he belongs in the major leagues. So if we don't sign Ohtani, I think you give him a shot at left field. But if you do sign Ohtani, you got to trade him. And I would say what you'd really have to trade him for, without a doubt, would be starting pitching, because you're going to need it down the road. And so looking at it big picture, if they were to make the move for Ohtani, Vaughn Grissom would then be a part of a package that could bring you some younger starting pitching. The biggest thing would be controllable years into arbitration, to where you would be pushing the calendar back on when they hit free agency. So in one fell move, what you could do with one move like that, signing Ohtani, it would be a domino effect that would put Vaughn Grissom on the trading block to bring in starting pitching, younger starting pitching. What you could get it would be still up for debate, but you could bring in some starting pitching. And we know that starting pitching is much more valued when you talk about Major League Baseball across the board. Major League Baseball franchises do not give up young starting pitching very much. But if they've got a need and you can find a surplus, you can probably get some good. You either go out and get some pretty good two pretty good pitching prospects for Grissom, or you're going to package Grissom with someone else to get an elite prospect, and you would move on from that. But a lot of things could obviously play into this. And it would be a lot of fun to see Ohtani in a Braves uniform. I'm not going to lie. I would love it. Whatever the hell they had to do, I would love to see it, because it would make it a lot of fun to cover this team. But we have to be realistic. If we've seen over the last couple of off seasons, Freddie Freeman go to free agency, they didn't bring him back on, what was it, $160 million deal. Dansby Swanson go to free agency. They didn't bring him back on a deal that I think the Cubs went north of 170. How the hell can we expect Shohei Ohtani to be coming in to Atlanta with the deal somewhere around $600 million? And if he were healthy, I'm talking about from the pitching side of it, I think you would have seen every bit of 700 million. Every bit of it. You might have even seen it much higher depending on how long of a contract he would have gotten. But when you're talking about moves in the offseason, that you talk about the biggest splash that could happen in Major League Baseball and the domino effect that goes across the board. Shohei Ohtani to the Atlanta Braves would absolutely melt the internet. An MLB shop / Atlanta Braves or whatever the hell the website is. They better brace for what would basically be, it would be a tornado and a earthquake and a tsunami all rolled into one, because the merchandise that would come in for Shohei Ohtani, and this is why I expect him to sign fairly quickly. Whoever spends that money for Shohei Ohtani, let's say it's the Dodgers, like most of us believe. Don't you think the Dodgers want to get that information out before Christmas? If you're a Dodger fan or you're just a Shohei Ohtani fan, that's the first thing you're looking for under your Christmas tree. So if he were to go to the Atlanta Braves, holy cow, the Ohtani stuff that would come in to the Atlanta Braves. I mean, you would get the goofiest stuff up and down their, their MLB shops would have soaps. They'd have turds with Shohei Ohtani's number on just to sell it. Anybody would buy any of it. Did want to mention that the A's have been approved to head to Oakland, head from Oakland to Las Vegas. And that was a unanimous approval. I thought it was funny that there was a bit of a question on whether or not whether or not the A's would get the approval. Why the hell wouldn't the owners want a part of the Las Vegas market? And to be fair, for everyone who's going to sit there and cry, and they're going to cry the river, it's only people living in Oakland that really care. But the people will sit there and say that it's a dark day in Major League Baseball because nobody needs to see another team in Oakland. I mean, in Las Vegas, we need to keep them in Oakland. What kind of dopey ass comments are that? Throughout America's history, and especially in the sports history, the teams go where they are supported. How the hell you think the Braves got all the way down to Atlanta? Because there was money to be made. They originally left Boston because they were getting pushed out by the Red Sox fans. And they wanted their own area, so they go to Milwaukee. Then they found a much lucrative deal, and they also looked at it as, hey, there is no team of the South. Let's go be the team of the South. So they headed south. This is all the A's are doing. It's what the Raiders did. There will be no professional sports in Oakland because if you ever look at the city of Oakland and what it has become, it is a decaying city. Detroit's trying to fight this same stuff, and they look to have possibly turned back the hands of time and able to keep their teams. But when your city falls apart, and this is what happens when you elect your officials, you need to make sure that they've got your best interest as a sports fan, no matter what city you live in. But the nonsense that you will see from these dopes. Let me read you a couple of tweets. No other league despises their fans like Major League Baseball. Hope the good people of Las Vegas stop this. What about the damn Raiders? They've already left the same city to go to the same city It was the Oakland Raiders to the Los Angeles, back to Oakland, and now Las Vegas. The Oakland A's have been there for decades, and they have lost the fan base years ago. And to be fair, you can sit there and point all you want to on that ownership. That ownership put winning teams out on that field year after year after year. The hell do you think Moneyball came from? In Oakland, everyone thinks of Oakland as this poverty franchise that hasn't won anything. They have been competitive playoff teams up until the last couple of years. The final nail was the pandemic, and their local politicians did a lot of things to tear that city apart. Now, and there's a mass exodus that will continue to happen. You can't just have a team in a city because of nostalgia. It would be the equivalent of doing that with a dying department store. Think of any of the department stores that you grew up as a kid. I can remember some, Montgomery Ward. They're no longer around where I live in anymore. Things change with the times, and Las Vegas is the new hip spot, and the A's want to be a part of it. They'll be waiting on a stadium for the next few years, and it'll be interesting to see if they stay in Oakland the entire time or if they end up going elsewhere. But it's kind of funny. There's dopes coming in thinking they're going to rename the team. I see one dope said Las Vegas Aces. I guess that's a WNBA team. I feel like I've heard that. I'm not 100% sure, but they're going to be the Athletics. They've been the Athletics since Philadelphia. And when you see a dope put that on, you understand that they don't know baseball. Because they probably think the Oakland Athletics became the Athletics when they arrived in Oakland. They have no idea that there was a Kansas City Athletics, that there was a Philadelphia Athletics. The great Connie Mack. I for one am happy to see it because it's good for baseball to be in thriving cities and not in dumpster fires like Oakland. And this is nothing against the Oakland fans. I hate it for the diehard Oakland A's fan who lives in Oakland, who goes and watches the game. But there's only about 15 of y'all, and it's the same thing I'll say to any Miami Marlin fan when this eventually happens. That's overdue. And we'll see what happens with the Tampa Bay Rays. They got the agreement to the new stadium. I have my doubts this does anything for their fan base. There's always a damn excuse on why you don't go to games. But the simple fact of the matter is, if you're not going to games, that's the key. And I can tell you, to a man living in Florida, growing up in Florida, you never hear anybody talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. But if I go out and wear a Braves hat somewhere, I instantly run into Braves fans. People have given me Tampa Bay Rays hats over the years. Sometimes I'll throw it on to head to the grocery store. No one says a damn thing. Hell, half the time they go Bucks. That's a very, very telling thing when I hear go Bucks and I've got a Rays hat on. All right, we're going to go ahead and take off here. And y'all have a great day. We'll see you live on Monday. We go live 4 to 5. Have a great day whenever you're consuming this. Great night, great morning, great day. Get it, get it, get it.
You're in Braves country.